Just throw it anywhere. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Oh wow. When I did the acceptance speech for Monster Fest, I was on a video. I was holding a Mr. Potato Head. But this is so much cooler. It's interesting, we all heard the jokes, right? The Sven Byra Awards, right? I always thought that getting honorable mention for horror host was about as good as I was ever going to get in that category. Because honestly, Sven deserves to win as horror host because he actually is being a classic horror host, showing the classic horror movies in the classic style. And this is a classic horror award, And my show was always informed by all of that and was kind of like a postmodern answer to all of that. So you kind of have to understand how it goes right before you can understand how it goes wrong on my show. When we had another. We were also nominated OSI 74, which is my Roku channel. That was nominated in the category for best website. Again, not something that I would ever expect to really win. Honorable mention was about as best. There's so many wonderful horror sites. We're not strictly horror. We're all over the map, and it's all weird and it's hard to define. To be in the same breath with all these wonderful horror websites and like Bloody Disgusting. I mean, that was as good as I thought that it would get. And I have been nominated for a Rondo in the favorite horror host category for 18 years. and it was like a joke. I was the Susan Lucci of the Rondo Awards. And then this year, out of nowhere, there's the Monster Kid Hall of Fame, right? And they had to write this in. They had to put my name in there and not just check a box. And this is kind of an appointment, It's not just like I'm running for this next year, I'm accepted into this wonderful family of monster kids, and it's kind of to be appreciated by your own in that way. This is the best thing you could ever get, So this was the award. This isn't the award I deserve, perhaps, but this is the award I think I always wanted. So it was a super honor to have this. But then what's connected to it, like the classic horror? I started thinking, what does classic really mean? Classic horror is classic horror, film horror, honor classic horror. And it's like classic, they were always classic. Even when they were new, they were classic. Because there was always this inbred kind of, I didn't mean inbred, I'm sorry. Forget where I am sometimes. No, but there's always this kind of aspect to it that is honoring what came before. Mary Shelley or Bram Stoker or our fairy tales, our nightmares, the urban legends we heard when we were kids. There's always this aspect of it, of classic, because it's always these defining, iconic images of fear that we share. This dream this unconscious dream that we share, and all of these, even when they were new, they were classic. Classic isn't about being old. It's about being definitive. And I think that Rondo itself has become a classic. This is part of our tradition. The Rondo Award is a wonderful classic horror tradition in of itself because it has that inclusion of what's definitive
and what represents the best of this fantasy that we all share as monster kids. And this is something that we all get to engage in. Every year, we go through that routine of going to the website, and then you gotta write it on 3x5 cards, and then you mail it to someone's grandma, and then it goes over to the email, and then it's faxed, and then I think they tally it at some sort of lab somewhere, and then it comes back, and then David gets it. But all of that stuff is part of that tradition, ticking those boxes, punching those X's in next to the names. This has become an activity that we've all shared, and so thank you, David, for giving us another horror tradition in the Rondo itself. The Rondo is a classic, and I'm not taking this as an award, but I'm going to take this as a challenge to bring the classic into everything I do going forward. So thank all of you for thank you. I'm proud to be part of the family. Thank you.
Congratulations.